back, everyone, to our newest episode of Spitball and Sports. How you doing, Scott?
Good. What's going on, brother?
Nothing. Yeah, we were just bitching, but that's all right. It's better now.
Weather's
nice. Nice weather here in
beautiful
Western New York, right? Can't beat it.
Finally.
I have no reason to complain, but my God, am I bitching wildly. Just out of control.
It happens, dude.
No, I know. It's got to be our age. Everyone's age. We're just, just
turning to our parents.
God. Yeah, right. Let's see who we've got in here. Chris is here. Hey, Chris, how's it going, buddy?
What's up, Chris?
All right, we've got a guest. Now, the NHL, of course, is heading on its way into the finals, and Florida just keeps on winning, and they're waiting. They love it because
money. I'm betting them. I bet them again.
Vegas, Dallas wins last night to extend that series, so I'm sure Florida is happy. But we are lucky today because we have our guest, and he's here with us all the time, and he's a great friend of the show. And before I bring him in, let me tell you what he does, okay? Because there's something new before I bring him in. We know he covers the Leafs for HockeyBuzz.com. He, the co-host of Off the Post podcast. He does a Leafs Convo podcast, NHL and MLB writer too for Full Press. He now covers the Sabres for Buffalo Hockey Now, and that's pretty cool. Let's bring in Mike.
Awesome.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah. Do I have any spare time?
No, I know what I'm saying.
I know you're going to cut your grass if you want to.
Yeah, then there you go. And by the way, yeah, it is our age that we get more miserable. Last night I went to a concert in Niagara Falls and got back close to home about midnight, and I was still hungry, so I went to a fast food place and was in the drive-through, and the people in front of me had been token on some wacky weed, and it took them 25 minutes to order their food. 25 minutes to order it, and then every little, like, let me give it sweet and sour sauce and this and that. And I was about ready to step out of my car and really give them a piece of my mind, but I was too tired, and all I wanted was my food and to go home.
And on that, we got to do this because I have to. Hold on, let me find my thing. We got the match.
There you go.
And Mike is here. It's almost like breaking news. It reminds me like TSN or something. But let's start, Mike, on the obviously the NHL. Florida, my God, they've won 11 out of 12, and they swept away whoever the hell they even played. I don't even remember anymore. Carolina. And last night, Dallas extends the Vegas series. What do you think? I want to hear what you think about the series. It's probably going to be Florida and Vegas. We can easily say. What do you think about that going forward?
I mean, I picked Dallas in the series, but once they got down 3-0, they're pretty much toast. And the Jamie Benn suspension, really hurt them. But they were without him yesterday and they won. If they get to 3-2, then they put the pressure back on Vegas. But I think right now, even Jake Ottinger was the reason why I picked Dallas over Vegas, because I thought he'd be the better goaltender, but he's been inconsistent. And Aiden Hill has actually played pretty well. I think the defense in front of Hill, their blue line is better than Dallas's. Dallas has got the best defenseman in Miro Heiskanen, but I think Vegas's defense 1 through 6 is better. And I have to say, and I hate to hurt Sabre fans, but Jack Eichel's been fantastic. And talk about the ultimate FU. It's going to be Jack Eichel versus Sam Reinhart and Brandon Montour and Eric Stahl, 4X Sabres, if Vegas finishes off in the Stanley Cup final.
And that boy Montour is awfully good. My God, against the Leafs, he's dangerous every time he touches.
Where was that Montour? I can tell you where that Montour was. He didn't exist when he was in Buffalo because Ralph Kruger was a horrible coach who tried to get defensemen who were offensively gifted like Montour and Rasmus Dahlin. He was trying to make them into Rod Langway, and that doesn't work. If you got a defenseman who's a good offensive defenseman, you make him, you accentuate the positive.
Yeah,
Mike, what is so different, barring the injury, prior to that injury that he got, what is so different about Jack Eichel out there in Vegas than the Jack Eichel that we had in Buffalo? It's a remarkably different player, right?
Well, I mean, he has been healthy this year, but the injuries that he had in Buffalo were not just the neck. I mean, he had a knee injury, he had a shoulder, I think. Like there was he just simply couldn't stay healthy. And I think the thing is, I mean, look at the position that he was in with Buffalo. They made him the team captain. They were depending on him to be the center of the universe, to be the big scorer, to score a goal or two, to be a 90 to 100 point center. He doesn't have to be that in Vegas. There's a support structure there. They're a deep team, really good defense, 3-line deep offense. They've got enough goaltenders. They have 4 or 5 goaltenders. So, I mean, he doesn't have to be the man. And in Buffalo, he had to be the man. And if he got hurt, then and I think he did get hurt a little bit this year, but they didn't fall apart. And he was given a chance to come back. In Buffalo, he really had to rush back because if they lost like 5 or 6 games in a row, then kaput for the playoffs.
But didn't he in Buffalo also have that? I mean, I just heard this here and there. I don't know if there's any truth to this or not, but didn't he have the attitude that he's supposed to be the man? Like,
well, I mean, when you're a second overall pick in the draft and you're drafted right behind Connor McDavid, sure. But there's a difference between wanting to be the man and having to be the man. And, he may have wanted that. He may have had that attitude of, I'm the best or I'm one of the best and I'm going to show people and having to be that. And that's what I think it was. In Vegas, they want him to perform. They expect him to perform, but they don't on every night need him to perform like in Buffalo they needed to.
There's a lot of
Buffalo should be teamed that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they didn't build a good support structure around him. They didn't fill it out with players. They didn't have a good goaltender to be a backstop. Their defense wasn't deep, or they weren't getting as much out of their defense as they should. So there were a number of factors. But now, he goes to Vegas. They've got Pietrangelo, they've got Theodore, they've got Alec Martinez, they got Haig on the blue line. Their blue line is deep. They got Marchessault on his line. They have Carlson and Riley Smith, and they're a deep quality team.
Now, when they face Florida, if they face Florida, or whoever faces Florida, it's right. Unbelievable because I'm always waiting for Bobrovsky to he's not coming down to earth. This is incredible goaltending. Do they win the cup, Mike? I mean, is this just, what do you think about that? Like, really, because I can't even envision them losing.
I mean, right now they have to be the favorite based on how hot they are. I mean, the thing is that, and you could say it's a bad thing that they're going to have basically a week off in between their last game and the start of the Stanley Cup final. But Bobrovsky, being a goaltender in his early mid-30s, he could use the break. And it's probably beneficial for him to be able to have a respite before, possibly a 7-game series against Vegas or Dallas. So, you like to keep going because you're a hot team and everything is clicking. But there's also the factor of you need the goaltender, especially a goaltender who's had a lot of injuries in his past and a lot of experience and has played a lot of games to get that rest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's Scott, I'll tell you, when you think of who's the kid, Lion saved the day for them. I mean, he absolutely saved them. I mean, again, Bobrovsky was terrible. Regular season, Lion saves the day. And then the things. Oh, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, at the end of the season, no doubt he saved the day because Bobrovsky was sick. And then they stuck with right. Lion going into the playoffs because he was the hot guy. But then eventually they go to Bobrovsky in Game 4 against Boston, and now he's running the table. Spencer Knight is their goalie of the future, and he's had some off the ice problems. And from about January to like mid-March, Bobrovsky really stepped up. He played a lot of games. So it's a combination of things. He really came, is he worth $10 million? No, but right now the way he's playing like a $10 million goaltender.
Yeah, he's incredible.
I'm going to freeze up for a second because I got to switch my connection.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm freezing up, so I know it's my internet.
Because, I just watch, obviously I watched the Leafs series. I watched them all, but watching that series against Florida, I mean, Kachuk is just at a different level. Like he's something the Maple Leafs they've been needing, and they just can't. They don't have it. He's on. He what I want your thoughts on Kachuk. This guy is just a machine. He's a menace. Give me your
Right.
thoughts on him and all that.
I mean, he has been that way since he was drafted. I mean, he was that way with Calgary. Now, there was some talk about last year. He was sort of neutralized in a way by Evander Kane because Evander Kane was playing his BS games that he normally does, and like doing that kind of stuff, and it distracted Kachuk, and that. I mean, it got him off of his game. I think he's learned, and this year, I think Boston tried to get him off his game, and he didn't. And I think Carolina tried a little bit. Toronto sort of left him alone, and in a way, Toronto was the most effective. After that first game, he really didn't have much of an effect on the Leaf series. But he's just, I mean, he's one of the best power forwards in the league. He's immensely skilled. He's got great hands. He's physical. He's one of the best skilled players in the game, wrapped up in one of the best rats in the game. And he's not small, so it's not like Michael Bunting or Brad Marchand. He's a 6'3", 215-pound rat.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's unique. That's a unicorn.
And then Barkov, that whole thing about Barkov and Bennett together, they're all, that team's awfully good when those guys can be healthy. And I must have missed it, but did you see this in Bennett to being this? I mean, he's another one. He was a disaster. He killed the Leafs himself, just physically, I think.
Well, the funny thing is that Bennett, even though he struggled in the regular season with the Flames, he always performed well with them in the playoffs. And when he was on the market, there was a lot of chatter about Toronto being interested in him. He ended up going to Florida for a couple second-round picks, and that might have been a price that was too rich for the Leafs to pay. But, you see the results. I mean, he is a demon in the playoffs. He shows up, unlike some players we know. He shows up when the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, I'm not going to we won't do any predictions because I mean. Because we don't know. You're right. If Dallas wins, this very well could switch. It'll be like the Celtics series with the Celtics are about to really probably do something no one else has done in the NBA. You can see it coming. So, all right, let's get off.
I'm a Celtics fan, so I'm hoping for that. But I still think until they, it's the old adage. Until I see it happen, I'm not going to believe it.
Yeah. Oh my God, I see it. But I'm a Celtics hater, so maybe that's why it's easy for me to say. Probably. All right, let me ask you, we got to get into the soap opera because it's not just because I like the Leafs and I'm sitting here and I know you were a Leafs, well, you're a Leafs fan, but you cover everybody. I got to get your take on all of it because we haven't talked. That was the most bizarre week I've ever seen. You're in the room with these people. So tell me what that was all like and what the hell with Kyle Dubas and then the way Shanahan he was unbelievable. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, it's weird when you're sort of very close to. I mean, it's okay. It's hockey. It's not like politics or something like that. But when you're like close into a scenario that is sort of historic, you sort of count your lucky stars and say, "Oh, wow!" But I was at Game 5, and when the Morgan Riley goal at the end of the second period and the controversy of whether it went over the goal line, and the ruling came down from the league, and let's just say I was standing in the press box and Kyle Dubas came out of the press box and we had a brief conversation, and then some other reporters didn't hear exactly what he said. So, there was that. And then Monday with the media availability, I was sitting 10 feet away from Dubas, front row center, when he held his presser. And then we found out after the fact that Brendan Shanahan told him not to speak to the media. And had he listened to him and not talked to the media, he may still well be the Leafs GM. But he wanted to talk. he mentioned about the family situation and the pressure that he was under. And in retrospect, again, I think the reason he was under so much pressure and talked about the pressure it was having on his family is because there were certain things that were going on with that job, like where he couldn't make trades he wanted to make, or he couldn't, he had to make trades that he didn't want to make. And that had to do with the MLS and E board and Shanahan and what they wanted to do. And he, in the end, I know that Shanahan came out and said, well, it was about money. There was a new contract offer on the Thursday before. It wasn't just about money. It was about autonomy. It was about him wanting to either report to the board directly or to have more freedom in terms of how to run the team. And that was perceived, I think, by Shanahan as Shanahan being cut out of it. And at that point, I think Shanahan or the board said, we can't allow this to happen. So that's the reason why he's gone. And whether I think it's a good thing or a bad thing, as somebody who covered the Leafs for the entire tenure that Kyle Dubas was in Toronto, I think he was a good manager. I think he made mistakes, but I think overall he was a good general manager. Their drafting was much better under him than it was under Mark Hunter. I don't know where they're going. And that's the thing. There's so much uncertainty right now, not only about who the next GM is, but about Austin Matthews' contract, about Marner's and about Nylander's and about, there's just so much. They have 10 unrestricted free agents and they have to get a new general manager. It's 5 weeks before the draft and 5.5 weeks before free agency. It's just nuts. It really is.
Why do you think that Shanahan's never done it? I was always surprised because there's been president GMs and stuff. Has he ever mentioned it? Has ever been a discussion?
No. I mean, the closest he came was in 2015 when, they had fired Dave Nonis and they had hired Dubas and they had hired Mark Hunter, and Dubas was the assistant general manager. He was the one making the trades. Hunter was the one doing the draft, and Shanahan was sort of the overseer. So it was sort of a GM by committee. And a few months later, they hire Lou Lamoriello because they had that 800-pound gorilla named Mike Babcock, and they didn't want to subject two inexperienced assistant general managers with that guy with his 8-year contract and $6.5 million, basically like being the elephant in the room and knocking down everything. It's like, they needed an experienced guy to sort of fend him off. A few years later, Dubas was ready. And again, he made mistakes, but I think overall he was a good general manager. And now, maybe 2 months, 3 months down the line when we know who the GM is going to be, we can look at this more objectively and more calmly. But right now, it looks like a cluster F. It really does.
It does. Mike, I don't think it's going to be Tree Living. I don't know why, or whatever the hell his name is. I don't believe it's him. What do you think? I don't know why, but it seems to me he's not fitting the criteria that Shanahan put forward in his press conference as far as all the experience.
Well, he wants experience. He wants a GM who makes tough decisions. And I'm not sure what a GM with bite means, but that basically, I think somebody who I guess won't be pushed around, that type of thing. And if you think about it, honestly, Treliving matches most of that. He made the Tkachuk deal in Calgary. He had to because Tkachuk told him he was going to walk away after the season. So he got Huberdeau and Uyghur for him. He's an experienced gentleman. Now, he's not my choice. The positive about him is that he was GM last year. And he's very connected and, apparently a good communicator and everything like that. And he sort of fits what Shanahan is looking for. And he comes from can he deal with the MLS and E board? Well, his father is the owner. His father is a billionaire. He owns Boston Pizza up in Canada. So, I'm sure he's very, very adept and aware of how to deal with corporate boards. But that being said, it's like some of the names that have come out, like Frank Cervalli reported today. Okay, and that's talking about my personal opinion. Peter Chiarelli, no friggin' way.
Right.
Mark Bergevin,
Oh,
He was burned out in Montreal. Now he got them to a cup final, but he was burned out and he quit. And now a year and a half later, he's coming back.
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jason Botterill, the former Sabres GM, not a bad hockey mind, but he couldn't cut it in Buffalo. Does that mean he's going to cut it in Toronto? I don't know. But there are some other potential candidates. The name of Chris Draper, who's an assistant GM with Detroit, has been mentioned. Scott Mellenby, former assistant GM of Montreal, part of the St. Louis Blues management team, he's been mentioned. It's going to probably take him another week to make a decision, but I think Treliving is probably the favorite right now.
You know what I want to ask you before I know I gotta let you go here soon. I want to talk about the core four, I guess. What is your now? You've also, I know you've been in there with them and stuff. Boy, you've been. I know in the last couple of years, at least, you've talked about that they had to break this up. I mean, I think you've said that. What are you seeing happening here? I don't know what to believe. I mean, Matthews said what he said, but who knows? How do you see that? What do you see happening with these with the core four? We know Tavares can't move. I guess he's here forever.
Right. And in spite of I think it was Nick Kiprios writing a column in the Toronto Sun saying, you've got to like force him. He's not going to be forced with anything. He's making $11 million. He's got a no move clause. He'll tell you to go F yourself if you say you got to go. So, he's got the whip hand. He's not going anywhere. What are you going to do? Sit him? It's dumb. He took less to come to Toronto, and if you try to force John Tavares out, you'll never get a big free agent to sign there again. So, well, the disconcerting thing is, and Chris Johnston, who is a very good reporter, has a lot of connections. He reported a couple days ago, and I wrote about it today, that Shanahan called the four players after the Dubas firing and said, you guys are good, meaning they're going to keep him around. Now, this is the thing. If you go out and tell them, we're going to trade one of you, and it gets out like this has gotten out, if you try to trade one of them, are you getting full value for them? Of course not, because everybody knows that you said somebody's going to be traded. So you tell them, oh yeah, we're going to keep you. And then you bring in the new general manager. And if he says, well, we got to trade one of them, then after the fact, if they trade Nylander or trade Marner, then Shanahan said, well, that was my personal belief, but this guy is the new GM and he's the boss and we're going to do what he wants. So I think that all four of them will be back? No. If they are, I think the first scalp next year when they lose in the first round again is Brendan Shanahan. He's taking a big risk bringing them back, especially with Matthews entering the final year of his deal. And I think they'll get a deal done with him because he's not going to, he'll get max money anywhere he wants. But I don't think the Leafs will sign him to any contract term he wants, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. But I don't think that that's going to be the case in free agency. Whoever wants to sign him is going to want him for a 7-year deal. So I think in the end, he'll sign with Toronto. I think one of Nylander or Marner is gone. I've always thought it was going to be Nylander, but there is some chatter now that it could be Marner. They really have to just fundamentally remake the structure of that team. Their defense is not good enough. Their goaltending was okay. Their forwards, when you're spending $40 million on 4 forwards, they need to perform. They performed against Tampa. They didn't perform against Florida, and they went down to defeat. So that's the long and the short of it.
I wish Shanahan would have woke up and said something when they traded Marchment. I wish he could have stopped that one. Such a bad deal for Mulligan. My God. And now I watch him for Dallas.
I called that at that moment. And if you watch, actually, Marchment was just interviewed by Elliot Friedman.
Yeah.
It's on Twitter. It's on Elliot's feed. And Marchment was genuinely surprised. He really did not get a major opportunity to play with the Leafs. I think the Leafs issue with him was not his ability, was not his physicality, it was his durability. And he has been hurt over and over. He's not durable, but he's the type of player that they needed, and they should have kept him, and they didn't keep him. That was one of Dubas's few mistakes.
No, definitely few mistakes. I mean, after watching all that, and let me ask you this. The Athletic, I'm sure you read that sometimes. Jonas Siegel, he wrote something. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see there was people from inside the organization saying stuff, and they were very sad, the way they were talking. My God, after reading it, I wanted everyone to be fired. Like, I wanted Shanahan, everyone, like, just fire them all. Like, I really, that's probably what should have happened here. Wouldn't you say, Mike? Like, Shanahan probably should have went with them.
Well, he was the one
doing.
He was the point guy, and from what I understand, if you remember, Dubas entered this year. It was a lame duck situation. He was in the final year of his contract. Last September, it was one of the corporate board, one of either Rodgers or Bell, that wouldn't sign off on an extension. So Shanahan wanted to bring him back, but one of that group didn't. And then before the end of the season, they signed off on it, and then they started the negotiations. But then when Dubas apparently expressed some reservations and some stress about the job and, the limitations of the job, that was what seeded the doubt. And then, basically it fell apart from there. So
does he take Pittsburgh's job? Does he wait for Ottawa? What do you think he's doing?
I wouldn't take Pittsburgh, but he might, because Fenway Sports Group is a group that is, very into analytics, very into sort of that new management style. And I think he would take that job. It's risking a lot to take the Ottawa job because they don't know what ownership group is going to make it.
Right. True. All right, Mike, you've been busy. I got to let you go. I don't want to keep you anymore. Yeah, you're one of the busiest men in this podcasting and whatever the hell, you covering the teams. All right, so let everyone know, again, everyone knows you with Leafs Hockey Buzz, you cover them. The newest thing is, if you're a Sabres fan, go to Buffalo Hockey Now, and you're covering it for them.
Yeah, I'm doing daily reports on the Sabres, and there's a lot of news, obviously. Right now, the 5 Sabres are playing in the World Championships over in Finland and Latvia. The draft is coming up. The draft combine is coming up in a couple weeks. I'll be there, and the Sabres are picking 13th, so they're gonna probably get a pretty decent prospect. But there's a lot of decisions right now with the Sabres. Personally, as somebody who knows the team pretty well, living here all my life, I look at Devin Levi, and I think he's extremely promising. I think he's going to be a really good goaltender, but he's 21 years old. And I've seen many a 21-year-old goaltender when they force them into the league, and I think they're forcing them into the league. You put a veteran goaltender with them. You have somebody as a support structure. And Craig Anderson provided that. Excuse me. Craig Anderson provided that last year. But the problem is he's retired. Eric Comrie is not a good goaltender. I think he's basically a 4A, goaltender, a third stringer. And Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, at his best, is an NHL goaltender, but the problem is he's hardly ever at his best. He's up and down. And if you're going to, I don't think you can depend on Levi to play 50, 55 games. I think you want to split it down the middle and get a veteran goaltender who can play, whether that's a Daniel Vladar from Calgary, or you go big and try to get Connor Hellebuck. Who knows? But I just know right now that if you go into the season with Levi and Luukkonen, I think it's a big roll of the dice. And the problem is they have to make the playoffs next year. Yeah. They really have to.
And I'll tell you, the future's bright for them, though, as bright as it's been in a long time, I would say. So, anyways, Mike, let me let you out of here. You're losing your voice. You've been doing all these shows and doing everything. And all right, man. When we get to, it's all right, because you're doing a lot of stuff. We're gonna bring you back later in the summer. What's that, Scott? You're muted. Scott, you're mute. You're muted. I can't hear you. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
And just throwing little pollen puffballs up there to choke you out.
That's what it is. But we're going to get you back for MLB baseball because I think that would be a lot of fun to talk some Yankees and stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
but anyways,
yeah.
man.
Every time I think the Yankees are ascending, then they lose 2 in a row to the Orioles, and
Yeah. No,
but at least they're not the Blue Jays.
Right. At least we're not the Blue Jays. I agree. All right, Mike. Have a good one. Happy Memorial Day.
Have a good weekend, Mike.
There you go.
So that was Mike Augello. He's our good friend. And
all kinds of info for you there, Johnny.
What's that?
Said all kinds of info for you and your Leafs there, buddy.
Yeah, especially being right in the room. Wow.
Yeah,
That's really cool. I got to talk to him off air. I'm curious what was said.
You probably got a million questions. You should, yeah.
Yeah, I know. On air, I'm just losing my mind here.
Well, no. Well, he's only going to say so much on here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, risk
But-
it.
All right. Why don't we take our break? Because there's a ton of NFL news. Talk a little bit about the NBA, but I really want to get in the NFL. I want to hear what you think about DeAndre Hopkins and his possibilities and places where, I mean, we know Buffalo's one, but there's others.
Sure.
Let's take our quick break, and we'll be back in a couple moments.
Digits 988 can save a life. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides connection to free confidential support. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.
Welcome back to Spitball and Sports. So yeah, I'll tell you what though, Scott. Last thing on the Sabres. I think the future is very bright though for you guys that are Sabres fans. It definitely is. They do need they need a goalie. I agree with them. You don't want to have that leave at 21 years. You know, just getting. You don't want that. But
it's just like throwing a first round pick quarterback in and you can ruin those guys.
That's the truth. That's exactly what it is. And that would be terrible because the kid is only 21. All right, let's get off of that and get into a little bit of NBA. The Celtics win last night to bring the series to 3-2. They were down 3-0. No NBA team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. I said it with Mike. I think they're going to do it. I have a feeling that the Celtics are going to be the team to do it.
Yeah, I can see that too. Like, I was betting it. So I've been following it, and it's amazing watching Tatum play. Some of those games, it's like, man, it's like everybody's going for 3-pointers all the time.
Yeah.
And they either hit them or they miss them. Do you know what I mean? That's really, it's so much more of that now than actual basketball being played. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, that's why it's good when you got somebody and that'll drive to the basket. And, you know, I think that's huge. You open up everything.
There's so many guys that are going for the 3-pointers now all the time.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many missed shots. I watched some of these games, and I told you, I can't believe the amount of missed shots. It's unreal to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's going for the three-pointer. And I'm like, man, you guys have missed the last 5. Why don't you drive one and try to get a foul?
And that too. Yeah. And the other thing is, you're right about Tatum, though. They should never. The balls always should be in his hands.
How does he get 3 games without touching the ball in the fourth quarter? And they were all losses.
Yeah.
I just I can't even understand how that happens, that he doesn't take a shot in the fourth quarter. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, he's your player. I mean, he's like your Patrick Mahomes or Michael Jordan or whoever you want to compare him to.
And now the pressure is all on Miami. I mean, this is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it tomorrow night.
Definitely over delivered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if they lost, they're probably going to be super pissed about it, but nobody expected them to be where they are. Nobody did.
They're just like the Florida Panthers. It's odd. They're both 8 seeds, and they both. Robin?
Who comes out of this a bigger superstar, Tatum or Butler?
Who comes out of there? Oh, I think Butler. I think it's Tatum. If Tatum were to bring this, if they come back and win this thing, I think Butler is what he is. Like, he's one of those playoff performers, right? But during the regular season, there's not much going on. Yeah. I mean, that team struggled to make the playoffs. Basically, they're the 8th seed. So what do you think? It'd be Tatum, right? It would have to be him, because that would just grow his, to a different level.
I'll tell you, watching these playoff games, watching him, his play is so up and down.
Right.
That I hear so much about him, and I know he's a great player, but great players don't usually play like that in the playoffs. 30 points one game, 14 points the next game, 30 points the next game, 14 points the next. I mean, he's like crazy extreme,
Yeah.
Missed a lot of shots. I watch him missing a ton of shots. So I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of NBA. I watched it a lot more this year because I'm betting on it, which is why I've seen those games. So I'm not sure how many years has Tatum been in the league now?
I'd be guessing. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's got to be more than 5. I'm just
more than 5. Okay, so he's pretty established in the league. So. That's not. You should expect better than that in the playoffs from a star player.
Yeah, he's and Jaylen Brown, he's good. The guy who wears the mask sometimes.
He's great. Yeah, sure. I know you mean.
Good. But then the Nuggets are just sitting there waiting. Jokic is out of it. That guy's like a humongous Larry Bird.
Everything. I got him winning the whole thing, dude. It doesn't matter.
And especially if Jamal Murray plays well, then I don't know how they lose.
I mean,
it's funny because Jokic year after year wins MVP, and everybody always says they don't understand why. And I think it's just because he plays in Denver. I think people just don't see him.
Watch him play. It's like Shaquille O'Neal shooting 3-pointers.
He gets a little. It's weird though. Sometimes it doesn't look like he's jumping. It's bizarre. He almost.
And he's a bully.
Yeah. I get it why it seems boring a little bit, compared to the, other stuff. But I mean, sometimes he'll shoot it's like Larry Bird. I'm obviously huger, but he's got that same, I don't know, he'll just all of a sudden he turns around and shoot it from the, maybe about 23 feet and, bang, it's just it. He's 7 foot, whatever.
But he's never on television.
No, not at all. And if you're going to wait up to see him.
Until I watched him, I didn't even know what he looked like.
Yeah. No, you're right. And Robin's right, because it's going to be late. If you're going to watch a regular season game out of Denver, it's going to be 9:30, 10 o'clock start.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
But yeah. Anyhow, so that's the NBA. I got to pick on that later. I want to share, but I want to get to the NFL first off, and Robin, chime in whenever you feel like it. In a kind of a surprise, because I've been so into hockey and NBA. I didn't even know there was a possibility that DeAndre Hopkins was going to get cut. Well, he gets released today, and then I want to get your thoughts. He has mentioned the Bills and Allen. He's mentioned Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, right? He's mentioned Mahomes and the Chiefs, Herbert and the Chargers, and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Those are the 5 teams that he wants to play for. I want to hear what you think, Scott. And do the Bills, with all they have, do you want them here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
because we still don't know what we have in Gabe Davis.
Right.
I mean, yeah, great. It's great you can have a 4-touchdown game, but when you're dropping passes in crucial times, and you've got a guy like that you can pair up with Stephon Diggs, I mean, could you even imagine? I don't know that he's ever been a me guy, and I don't think it'd be a problem with targets. I'd love to have him in Buffalo. I think Buffalo needs to have something like that added to the team in order to go up against what they're going to deal with the Jets. The Jets defense is super good.
Yeah,
it's very, very good. They're a Super Bowl type defense, man. They really are. They're that good, and they're young, and that makes me nervous how good they are. Actually,
I will have to say I agree. The thing with Hopkins is with all the injuries, I think by now he's got to be in that role, and he's better than him. But like Julio Jones turned, you know what I mean? Julio Jones became a second fiddle. He just was, and that's what he is. And Odell Beckham Jr. did too. I mean, he's never the guy anymore.
When he came here, he already knows for a fact that Stephon Diggs is the guy. He knows that, right?
No, yeah.
Well, if he's coming there, he comes there with the understanding that that's the case. So
he's humble.
He doesn't seem like a me guy anyway. So he doesn't seem like an arrogant guy. He seems like a very, very mellow. You know, he's not a big talker, obviously, because I haven't hardly ever seen interviews with him until now.
If he wants to be the guy, I guess he'd go to the Chargers.
Sure.
They need the guy.
But he wants to win a championship.
So he wouldn't go to the Chargers.
You have to make concessions in order to do that, to go to a championship team, as well as they're going to have to do the same. You're not going to be able to be the highest paid wide receiver on the team.
No, right.
You're not going to have an expectation of having 100 yards and 7 or 8 catches a game.
You just fit in. Yeah.
Maybe it could happen, but
sure.
you've got to be part of there's roles. I mean, they both, God, could you imagine? Could you imagine? And he's mentioned more than once that he's a big fan of Josh Allen and he'd love to play for the Bills.
If he ends up in Buffalo, Kansas City, or even the Eagles, that's going to be such a huge boost for whatever 3 of them get him. You know what I mean?
If he ends up at Buffalo probably goes up to probably number 2 or 3, probably for Super Bowl odds, I would imagine.
Right.
I don't know what they are right now. I didn't even look. I'm sure they're down there, but he's got to shoot them. I mean, could you imagine that if they're healthy? Could you imagine it? And that new tight end that they got? Come on.
No, if he's the more I think about it, the 3 teams I mentioned would die to have him. Buffalo, Kansas City, and the Eagles. I don't know about the Ravens. I don't know if they're not there yet. I mean, I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, they're not a Super Bowl contender.
A lot of early praise going. I'm telling you, man. I told you about Lamar Jackson. You know how I feel. And I just don't. I think people are hyping this up because they want it to be something, and I think it's going to be a dud. I truly do. I do. I think it's going to be. I don't even think Baltimore might make the playoffs. Maybe as a.
Yeah, they could. I mean,
I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, I'm pausing, but I just don't see what people are seeing in this.
And yeah, I mean, I don't think if maybe the Chargers would be.
John, let me ask you this: Has he shown you that much that Odell Beckham Jr. going to that team? Has he showed you that much that Odell going to that team is going to take them to the Super Bowl? Because that's kind of what you're doing with that. With the money they're paying Odell. That's a Super Bowl or bust type deal, right?
My thing is, we've all seen him in the playoffs, and it's very bad. He's not a playoff. He hasn't played well, Lamar.
That is very good, but is he that good? Can he overcome? Exactly, he doesn't. Well, he's talking about throwing the ball more now. Now, is he? I mean, everybody praises his passing skills, but
he's not a player. They're not a super.
I mean, he's like a Cordell. What you call it?
Stewart?
Cordell Stewart, yeah. I mean, that's who he reminds me of. That's not. I mean, he's better than that, obviously, but.
No, I know what you're saying. I mean, it's
gonna be fun to see how this is gonna happen because if they're primarily relying on him passing, can you think they can do that? Can they survive like that?
It's gonna be fun to see. I don't think so.
Has he ever played like that in college? Did he ever play a game? He did. So he did play like that in college.
Yeah, he did in college. Yeah. It was all him.
sudden turn it into a run machine when they got to Baltimore?
I don't know. Yeah, I know. He went to such a bad spot for him when you really think about it. But
I thought that's what he did. He seemed well suited for that. I thought that's the role he played in college.
he ran the ball. He was one of those guys, but he could throw. He should have been more the way Justin Fields is than the way they've made him out to be. You know what I mean? It'll be interesting.
Sliced bread, John, and he's done nothing.
I know he's done nothing. He's in his playoff performances. I remember the 5 turnovers. I can't remember who they played, and it was just. And every time they had a chance to get back in the game, he would drop it. He'd fumble it.
That's the thing with him. I mean, I think if you look at him as a regular season performer, you look at him a lot differently than you do when you look at him. When it really counts in the playoffs.
I've seen so many turnovers. I've watched that, and I wish I could remember who they were playing. I don't think it was Buffalo. I don't remember, but it might have been Pittsburgh or something. And my God,
Buffalo dude, where he had a lot of turnovers.
5. I remember one game. I can remember.
It might have been the Bills game.
And maybe what they ended up pulling them out. You had to. But anyway,
I'm going to look that up just while we're talking because I'm curious because I think that was against the Bills.
It might have been. And I felt like in that game there was opportunity, and I'm like, this guy's just can't. He can't keep the ball in his hand. I don't know. I root for Lamar. I've always rooted. I don't know why I've always rooted for him. I wanted him to do. I loved him in college. That's the thing. He was so dynamic, so great. It was incredible. Louisville or whatever. And then he came in here, and it just bad place because I still don't think they ever gave him receivers on that team ever. Oh. And this will be interesting, but I don't even think Odell Beckham and DeAndre Hopkins are the guy because they're going to get hurt.
Sorry, it was 4 and it was against the Browns.
The Browns? Okay, yes, the Browns.
Okay.
There's no way around it. He's not playing 16 games.
There's no way. And
DeAndre Hopkins has missed 10 games, 6 games, and then he had the PED thing. But
he's another one. Yeah. But if he came to the Bills, he'd be scaled down to a point where he wouldn't need to play that many plays. You know what I mean? So due to the fact that he doesn't have to be out on the field every play,
right?
That saves those guys.
Agreed.
That big play threat that they are.
I know he can jump. Oh my God, that guy.
Oh, I'm talking into existence, dude. I so want him on the Bills. When I saw he got released today, dude, I was welding and I was like, "Woo!" because it came through my headphones. My boss was like, "What the hell are you doing over there?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, you hate sports, so I can't even talk. Yeah. I can't even celebrate right now with anybody."
Now there's a couple new things that happened in the NFL that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let me run this little thing here. It's only a minute long. Right. It's funny. It's the Kelsey brothers. They're talking about. Well, you'll hear.
NFL owners have approved a proposal to spot the ball on the 25-yard line on a fair catch of a kickoff made inside the 25 in the goal line or in the end zone. I think this is absolutely stupid. I don't think this is making the game safer. I think it's making it more boring and taking a lot of excitement out of the game's opening play. This is whack.
We're just getting closer and closer to getting rid of special teams. I mean, it's like the only thing left now is punt. When is somebody not going to fair catch it and take the ball to 25? Unless it's just a really bad kick, right?
And it's taken away from the excitement of a kickoff, man. I love watching kickoffs.
I just don't know what are we doing it for then. We're just going to have guys, hey, I'm going to run 80 yards for no reason, and then we're going to start the drive.
So dumb. Like, what?
We're just going to do everything for show, and here's the ceremonial kickoff that's not going to get returned ever.
That's what I'm saying, man. It just deflates the excitement of, like, the first kickoff. Like, everybody used to, like, oh, boom! And everybody runs when the ball, and it says boom when it gets kicked off, and it's exciting, and then you see that first live contact. You hear it. Everybody's just running full speed at each other. And you're like, football! This is electric! And you're just going to turn it into 25-yard line. Let's get the quarterback out here. It just takes away from everything. It just immediately deflates you.
Yeah.
I just got deflated thinking about it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's true. Everything they just said is 100% truth. I don't understand. He overrode everybody.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Everybody.
Yeah.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah.
What kind of a democracy is that?
Right.
Thank you, Imperial Lord.
Yeah. No, I know. I don't. Go ahead, Robin.
I think in an effort to make the game safer, they're taking certain elements of the game away that you just can't take away.
Devin Hester,
Yeah, I mean-
Deion Sanders, the stuff that used to happen were
Right. The
I
plays
got-
that you're going to miss out on because of this rule is unbelievable.
yeah.
And there's something else on this rule, what they were using, stats they were using, right? They said, guys, 19 plays that resulted in concussions this past season.
Hmm.
Those, the kickoff deals.
Okay.
They went back and they looked at them. We found 8. Where's the other 11?
Wow.
No answer.
Oh, yeah. The NHL is going.
What are we doing?
The NHL is kind of going through it in the playoffs. Obviously, the games get more intense. People are getting hit, and they're clean hits. Kind of the similar thing. The minute, I don't know how you can take this out of football without it not being football anymore.
Yeah, what they just said, dude, that's like ceremonial every week.
Yeah.
The opening kickoff?
Yeah, every game.
Well, why wouldn't everybody's going to fair catch it? Why would you not?
Oh, I'm definitely fair.
Why
Yeah.
would you?
Yeah.
Now,
25
what they just did with doing that, think about what they did also. They're costing players their jobs.
Definitely are.
You
Yeah.
don't need a kickoff and punt specialist anymore. You just got to have one guy that can catch the ball back there. That's it.
That's
all
it.
you need.
Yeah, and then they're getting to the point where I guess they'll just sooner or later just put it on the 25 and not
With-
even have a
I mean,
kickoff.
it's been rumored. They keep saying, I mean, they joked about it on podcasts and different things I've listened to. Man, they're just going to get rid of special teams altogether. Or they're going to get rid of the kicking game altogether, like they're trying to get rid of kickoffs.
Right.
It seems, and you know what? Now, with what he just did, I totally believe that they are.
I do
I
too.
totally believe it.
I believe it because this doesn't make any sense. What are you doing?
That will ruin the game if they do that. That now you're fucking with it too much if you go that
Yeah, it's
route.
not a game. It's not the same game.
Yeah,
Then you become the XFL.
What they're doing right now, it's
Yeah.
no longer the same game anymore.
You're right. No, I know because I think about the Bears. I'm a Bears fan, so I think about Hester's opening kickoff in the Super Bowl. He runs it back for a touchdown.
Everybody
Oh my
was when
God.
they were dominant when they got one of those guys on their team.
It's unbelievable.
We got Naheem Hines,
Well, remember you had a guy. Was it Hines who?
and now we have Deontay Hardy with us too. That he's going to be doing the kickoffs.
Because was it Hines who kept on like there was one year where it was like every game it's like the Bills are having a return like for 3 straight or something weird
Well, Hines was last year when he had the
last year.
game where Hamlin
Oh, he had
he
2.
ran back to 2 of them. Yeah.
That's right, and that's great stuff. How do you can't take
That was dude. You couldn't even. That was the week. That was the next game after the whole incident.
That's
That was-
right.
You couldn't even have written a script like that for a TV edit. Executives would throw you out.
All right. The next thing I want to get to, I don't understand why they're doing this because it's got to suck. It's got to suck. The NFL owners approved flexing Thursday night games. I can't see
I don't know
how
how you're gonna do
fans. Yeah, I don't know. That can't
Terrible.
happen. Like, what about if you got a game? What about your tickets? Like, I'm thinking of it as a fan. That's gotta suck.
Oh yeah.
Dude, the
Oh,
owner of the Raiders said it perfectly, dude. When he said, "Listen, if there's people that have, when the 3 Chargers fans, this is exactly what he said too. When the 3 Chargers fans have their tickets to the game, and all the Raiders fans, and then you go ahead and you change it, they've already booked the trade. Like they're screwed.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You're gonna screw so many people over by doing that. I don't know how. I don't understand why they did that. I just don't get it, man.
And they passed it on the minimum. Because of the Bears, the Giants, the Jets, the
Why?
Packers.
What was the reasoning behind it? Did they say?
No, not really. The Raiders, the Lions, and Cincinnati and Pittsburgh voted no. The other 24 voted yes, and that's all you needed is 24 to pass it.
Why? Anybody would think that's good.
I don't get it, really, honestly. I don't know why they're even I don't know why you need to flex. I just don't.
You
Well,
really screw fans over by doing that.
But
I think looking at it from like the team and player perspective, you're at such
That
a
sucks, yeah.
disadvantage playing Thursday night anyways. You kind of game plan for that
Yeah,
well in advance,
how would you?
let alone
Yeah.
a team all of a sudden they're gonna flex you into
Thursday. Yeah,
into
how the fuck are they
Thursday.
going to do? So if you're playing, I don't get it. So if
Because
you're,
then most teams would what? They wouldn't have their day off Monday. They'd practice on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, play game Thursday.
yeah, and they just played
I don't
Sunday.
understand it. It doesn't make sense. I don't know how this is going to work.
Thursday
And
night.
they're gonna have to make
First
sure
things
that
up.
whatever game they flex wasn't teams from Monday night or Sunday night, I presume.
Thursday night football, and I know they're gonna have Wednesday. They got Black Friday football, whatever the fuck they're gonna do. It's too. I think the Thursday football's always sucked. I always thought I watch it, I'll bet it, but I think the gameplay's been shitty. And,
Well, things that they put on. Well, you got to remember how many
and they
teams
should be.
were supposed to be. They also based it on what we all thought the teams were that were going to be good. They put their schedule out that way, and boy, it just blew. Because that
Look,
San Diego division, it's what, the AFC West. They ruined everything.
and what I'm saying is, I can't believe that the NFLPA must really be weak, because if I'm the Players Association, I'm furious here. First of all, Thursday night games,
That's Troy Vincent, isn't it?
I think it might still be.
He's the president, I believe. Yeah, he's in charge of the PA.
They still you get a lot more injuries on Thursday nights, as has been what I read. It's just a whole mess. You don't even get the days off. You play Sunday and play Thursday or whatever it may be. It's just not. I don't know how the PA never speaks. Is I guess what my point is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, they don't. Only if something really bad happens. You hear.
Yeah,
You hear
I mean, this to me is kind of, maybe they won't do it at all, because Thursday night football should be the games. Like, for example, you want to put on Atlanta, Carolina, put them on Thursday night football. Like, you get what I mean? Like the games that aren't that's what I thought it always was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like,
I disagree. I always thought it was supposed to be big games.
see, and I thought it was supposed to be teams like, okay, they're
Was
never
it
on.
Mondays and Sunday night?
Yeah, that's what I figured. I always thought Thursday would be for the teams that don't usually get on prime time.
That's
All right.
That's a good idea that they actually should do something like
That
that.
was my understanding.
Originally, that's what I thought.
Thursday
Then
night.
it changed, but I mean,
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be cool. All right, like the fucking the Bears aren't going to be that good, so throw them against Carolina, and that's a game people are kind of interested in. But that's a perfect spot for it. You don't want it on Monday night,
Right.
I just think it
No, I
was.
understand that makes sense, and yeah, it started out that way, but it's definitely the ratings. Money changes everything, John.
Money changes everything. And then another thing, and this goes to Joe Judge and the Patriots. New England, you get 10 OTAs, I guess. They are going to lose 2 because
They can afford to do that.
Joe Judge, special teams coach, held a meeting which caused players to be at the New England facility for more than the allowed 4 hours. Now, I got 2 things on this. I'd love to know who sat in the room and made up the time frame. Like,
How much over?
right? How much over 4 hours? And what?
You know,
Yeah, like
And why did they decide
they
4
got-
hours is the?
because you're only allowed 1 hour on the field. I think. I
Right.
think Mahomes said that the other day.
Yeah, he did.
You're only allowed 1 hour on the field.
Because he
I
said
didn't know
Andy
that.
Reid takes every minute of
Yeah,
it.
he was on the NBA thing and they were interviewing him. So the Patriots again, boy, it's funny. It's always them. They get 2 OTAs taken from them, but I don't know. I mean, is that a big?
And Bill Belichick got fined $50K.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I did not know that. Oh, yeah.
Came out today. I heard $50K.
Patriots really are always in the middle of nonsense.
Yeah.
Always up to some bullshit. Why? Why, Bill? I thought you're such a great coach. Why you always try to get a fucking edge on somebody?
Remember the stuff with the pizza box? There was all kinds of crazy stuff where I don't even know what they were doing, trying to get into the other teams' facilities
Oh yeah.
and pizza boxes. It's just the wackiest
They're
thing.
trying to get into the other team's fucking room, right?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Fucking guys. That's what it is. They're always known for trying to cheat.
Before we get to our
Third.
Before we get to our picks, Devontae Adams has backtracked. He said, I love everyone in Las Vegas. Everything was taken out of context. I love you. I love everyone. So,
Bullshit.
yeah, probably.
He could say that all he wants. Bullshit.
So, he's not going anywhere, though.
He said how he felt. Yeah, he didn't sign up for what he's got. He didn't sign up for it. But you know what's unfortunate? He's going to get more wins with Jimmy G than he would have with Derek Carr.
He probably will.
Yeah.
If you can keep Jimmy G healthy, you probably, you
Jimmy G
will.
wins, John.
No, I know. I hate him, but you're right.
Sure, I will bet.
Yeah, but-
I will probably start out betting the Raiders pretty good at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
He wins, dude. Seriously, I don't know what it is about that fucking weirdo, but he does.
he does. He's just got to stay on the field. I'd love to see him do that. That would be cool to see him actually play.
Imagine how good he could be if he could stay healthy. Think
I know.
about
I'd love to see it because I don't even know really how good he can. You're right. I don't really know.
He gets hurt at worst times.
Yeah, he does. The worst times, man. All right. Why don't we, because we're coming up to the close, do what we got to do for the people. All right, we're back, and we're going to try as best we can to win money for you. Even Robin has a pick this week, and it's been a while for Robin. So why don't we find out what you know what I got to say about Robin? She has to be easily the biggest Facebook sharer in the history of Facebook because it's unbelievable the shit that goes on and how much she has to go around them because they always ban her for sharing because they think she's a big bot, spam bot, so they slap her down. But all right, Robin, who do you like? What's your pick this week?
I like the Celtics minus the 2.5.
Okay, that's tomorrow night. All right, yeah. Celtics minus 2.5. I'm gonna give you mine because then Scott's always got the real good ones. Mine is if you can bet it. I don't know what they are, but just pick the Celtics to win the series because I'm gonna guarantee it. We'll see what happens next week. I guarantee the Celtics win the series. I guaranteed it. Kind of, sort of, when it was 3-0.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of, on Twitter. I kind of danced around. Then it went to 3-1, then I guaranteed. So now I'm definitely guaranteeing it. I like the Celtics, and if you can get it, get it.
Catch it now. I guarantee it doesn't matter who's in the championship. Denver will win. Get it now. All the odds are still up, maybe in the pluses, possibly. I don't know.
Denver's a guarantee. Yeah, okay.
So started betting baseball. Only due to the fact that our Twitter guy started putting out baseball sheets.
Oh, is he? Oh.
He never did that before. He just started doing it.
Love it.
And I put together, maybe I got a little greedy. I put together like a 7-leg parlay, and I hit 5 out of 7 on it. But so tonight, I already hit my first one. It's already down, so you can add these ones to do a 3-teamer out of it. All it is from the Philadelphia Phillies game, Bryson Scott and both Bryce Harper and Bryson Scott to record a hit.
Okay.
And then in the St. Louis Cardinals at Cleveland game, Nolan Gorman to record a hit.
Okay. Hit. Yep.
You might double your money out of that. Maybe a little more. Don't get wild, but there it is.
All right. Very good. I love baseball. Yeah. I love betting. Baseball betting, you can make money. You know that. I don't got to tell you.
You got to look at his sheets. People are posting that they're making good bucks. I don't know enough about baseball to get into what a lot of these other people are getting into, but I'll bet you would probably – it would help you a lot.
We need to go look at I love baseball betting.
Stand it all out, just like he did with basketball, man. He's putting out players' records against that handed pitcher. Nice. Like he's giving you everything you need, dude.
This guy's something else. How many followers does he have now, would you say?
Not a lot, but unless he starts winning picking winners for people, he's not getting bogged down like he was for a little bit there. When he was on that run, there was people, dude, we were changing FanDuel in a matter of seconds. He was changing the line.
He was changing the line. He was ridiculous. And sometimes on DraftKings, it wasn't even there.
Dude, they would remove the player so you couldn't even bet him. For his own 100 points, they would fucking remove it after everybody started betting it.
Yep. I got caught in that a couple times. But so you're going to guarantee Denver wins it all.
Oh, yeah. My money's on Denver. I already bet it.
I'm saying it's Denver-Boston. You're just saying Boston wins game 5. It's game 5, right? Tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, it's game 6. Game 6 tomorrow.
Game 6, right.
So, all right.
So if you want to still get good odds on Denver for the championship, you got to bet it now. You got to bet it before the series starts, or before this series is even over with.
Bet it now.
Yeah, I like a minus the 2.5.
So you're going to go with the little thing. All right, so minus 2.5. And Vegas plays tomorrow night, and it's in Las Vegas. It's game 5. It's 3-1. I don't think Ben is back, right? He got 2-game suspension. So I think he's out again. Right. I don't think he'll be back till game 6.
Las Vegas, John?
What's that?
Did they pull it out? Vegas?
I think they close it out tomorrow night. Yeah, I do. I kind of think they do. And it's going to be a real, even though it's two teams that the NHL couldn't have wanted in Florida and Las Vegas, I'm going to tell you, I think it's going to be a great Stanley Cup. I really do.
The way they've been playing, it should be awesome.
Yeah. They are so violent. The violence, Florida's they are the most, and when I say violent, I mean in a hockey way, like hitting. Yeah. I'm not talking about slashing guys or any of that stuff. Right. Just, my God, the way Sam Bennett will hit players and that Gudis, that lunatic, even though he held the stick in the game winner against the Leafs, but he's still. Have you seen that guy with the big beard, the defenseman for Florida?
I have.
Did you ever see the picture when the game winner against the Leafs to end the series, the way he's screaming in the goalie's face? I'll send it to you later. It's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. It looks like Yukon Cornelius. It's but demented son of a bitch. But I think I don't know. What do you guys think? Do the Panthers win it all?
I already bet them.
Did you bet them to win it all? Good for you.
When I said I was going to bet them, I bet them.
I think, my God, if Bobrovsky doesn't hit a bump.
I'll tell you what. I think they very well could. I think every year the playoffs, especially the NHL playoffs, it seems like is all about who gets hot at the right time. And boy, did they get hot right exactly at the right time.
Think about it. They've won 11 out of 12. They lost to the Leafs game 4, and that's been it since they were down 3-1 to Boston.
One of the most impressive runs you've seen out of a team.
Yeah. For me, it is. And I've never seen it.
Probably was not expected to make it to where they're at.
No, because they make the playoffs the last game of the season because the Blackhawks, who were the worst team in the league, beat the Penguins. If the Penguins beat the Blackhawks, the Penguins are in and Florida's out. I mean, it's just crazy the way that all went down for them, and they're blessed, and they got a great coach.
That's an awesome fucking story. That's a great story.
Mm-hmm. And they're down there, and I guess the NHL should be a little happy because the proof of it all is, like, when you watch games from Florida, where are they, in Sunrise or whatever the hell that's called? It would be empty. I mean, I don't care what they were doing. There was an empty stadium. No matter where you are, you just have to win. You know what I mean? You just win. You win, they'll come. You'll pack the place no matter where it is.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know, man. We should probably roll. Got a Memorial Day weekend? Anything planned other than just relaxing, hopefully?
Doing work around the house and then a whole lot of fucking nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, me too. Right, Robin? Whole bunch of nothing. And
then I got to work.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Saturday. But that's only a little bit.
Around the house.
That's all right. I'm going to do some work around. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Monday. But we don't care.
Oh, let me finish. I have to mention this as well. So my wife and I went to Bert Kreischer's premiere last night of The Machine.
I saw your picture.
Tell everybody out there, if you get a chance, take the time and go see the movie at the movie theaters. It's awesome. Like, to see a dude that looks like that do the action scenes that he did, that's pretty impressive, dude. It's pretty impressive. And the movie was great. I didn't know what to expect going in. I knew it would probably be funny. He's never been in a movie before or anything. Exceeded my expectations. I think he did a great job on it.
You went to the theater, you said?
Yeah, we saw it. It was just the premiere of it. So beforehand, he went on stage and it's got streamed into the movie theater, and he talked and he was talking about a bunch of shit, thanking people. And
I haven't been to a movie theater in so long.
The premiere carpet, which wasn't a red carpet, it was first. It started out with shot skis, then it was food trucks, booze. Right, you had to stop at each thing, and it was throwing axes. Then it was chugging a fucking shotgun and a beer.
Right.
Slap boxing.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah,
you guys had a good time. I saw your picture on Facebook.
Yeah, it was good. The movie was great, man. It was really good, really funny. I think a lot of people would like it.
Well, you know what? Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
All right, we'll be back next week. Scott, I'll be talking to you.
Yeah, you got it, John. Man.
Robin, I'll definitely be talking to you.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
I gotta talk to you. All right, bye.
All right.